I'll be remembered, but will you? Bill McDonald's the baddest that I would turn to. CEO with the shit that's a dope motherfucker. He'll always win, there's no going under. The top of the crown resting on his head. The beast is alive, he'll never be dead. If you dreamt before, bring it back to life. Push harder for it, let us survive. Show courage and strength, it's okay to be scared, but don't let it stop you, always stay prepared. Bill showing school, they're just not beginning. Winners fucking win, losers talk about winning.
Welcome to the Bearded Beast Show. My name is Bill, and I am the Bearded Beast. A few housekeeping items. Let's remember, we're still facing this coronavirus pandemic. Many people have been put out of work. Many small businesses have had to close. So let's make sure when we get through this, and we will, that we support all of those small businesses and get them back on their feet. If you have some restaurants in your area that are still open for takeout, help them. Support them. They need you now more than ever. I'm sure there's been times that you've had something going on in your life and you've asked a small business owner to sponsor maybe your softball team, football team, t-ball team, something. It's our turn to give back. Also, let's not forget our front line workers, nurses, doctors, EMTs, police, firefighters. They're putting it on the line for us every day. Let's show them some respect and do what the fuck you're told and stay home. I got a little message for Ron DeSantis, the governor in Florida. Hey, Ron. No. Church? In-person church right now is not essential. I had someone reach out to me when I mentioned that, and they said, but Bill, God's word is to put your hand on the sick and heal them. We're facing a pandemic. It needs a carrier to spread. It doesn't have its own little fucking legs and walks from person to person. It's spread by people being near people. Do virtual church. Show some respect to your fellow Americans. Keep your ass at home. You can go back to church once we're past this and everybody else is back to work. Got it? I get all fired up over that shit. All right, today's message. What is courage? Do we think we can learn some lessons from the cowardly lion? Courage is a kind of strength, power, or resolve to meet a scary circumstance head on. And what we have going on in the world today, maybe now more than ever, we all need to display some courage. Courage is called upon whenever we confront a difficult, frightening, painful, or disturbing situation. When we feel threatened, weak, vulnerable, intimidated, or terrified. At such times, life is begging an existential question of us. Can we find the courage to face and defeat our fear? Or will we be defeated by it? And will we choose to be cowardly instead. Courage is required in almost every human activity or endeavor. Let's take a look at some of the things we do on a daily basis that require courage, but we don't even realize it. How about when we took the step to separate from our parents? Separating from our parents takes courage. Once we separate from our parents, we are taking on the responsibility, and we must have courage to live an independent life. How about the courage it takes to survive an abusive, traumatic, or neglected relationship? What about the courage it takes just to get old? It takes courage to authentically be oneself in the world and to dare to be truly creative, to artistically express and expose one's innermost self. It takes courage to make a career change, to pursue one's dream, or follow your bliss. Takes courage. It indeed takes terrific courage to live and to do so creatively, lovingly, meaningfully, and productively. We need courage to constructively encounter fate, defeat despair, and to heroically find and fulfill our destiny. How about when composer Beethoven discovered he was losing his hearing at the age of 28? He became understandably depressed about his unfortunate fate. He fell into despair, then anger, then rage. Eventually, his anger gave him the courage needed to encounter his fate and fulfill his musical destiny. Despite total deafness, Beethoven bravely went on to compose his most heroic and beautiful music right up until his death at 57. Wow. Let's talk about the Cowardly Lion. The Cowardly Lion is so guilt-ridden and ashamed of his own fear, anxiety, and perceived cowardice that he cannot recognize his innate courage as he bravely accompanies Dorothy and Toto to see the Wizard of Oz. But courage learns the Cowardly Lion, and his is wisely counseled by the wizard. Fear, fleeing, and inaction is not necessarily to be equated with cowardice. Have you ever heard the saying, discretion can be the better part of valor? Most often, it takes more courage to tactically back down from a confrontation than to mindlessly attack. To stand down rather than further escalate a situation. Part of wisdom is knowing when to do which. To be able to consciously pick and choose our battles rather than unconsciously or impulsively react. So in my final analysis, courage is essentially an existential choice. Courage is empowering experience of a decision to stand up and withstand when wounded or knocked down. To pick oneself up, to dust oneself off, and keep it on. A choice to stand and fight instead of run. To tolerate an attack rather than cower. To persevere rather than quit. To act with integrity rather than expedience. To create rather than destroy. To love rather than hate. To consciously face the facts of suffering, infirmity, and death rather than denying them. Truth be told, virtue of courage, true courage, is a prime detriment of what we do with life and what we don't do with it. Like the cowardly lion who constantly looks for courage outside of himself. Let me tell you something. We are already more courageous, more heroic than we give ourselves credit for. Take some time to think about the things you do on a daily basis that take courage. You do them without even thinking about it. I bet if you take some time, think about those things, I guarantee you'll be surprised. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please share it with some friends. You can check out The Bearded Beast Show, www.beardedbeastshow.com. I also write on a website called Medium, medium.com, usually about 1 to 2 articles a week. Also, don't forget to get a copy of my new book, Conquering Yesterday, my very first book I ever wrote. The proceeds of the sale are going to help some of these small business owners or some of the elderly people right now who need supplies. Let's do everything we can to support each other as Americans. And as I always say, die with memories, not dreams.
Remember, what were you? Bill McDonald's the baddest that I would turn to. CEO with the shit that's a dope motherfucker. He'll always win. There's no going under. The top of the crown resting on his head. The beast is alive. He'll never be dead. If he dreamt before, bring it back to life. Push harder for it. Let us survive. Show courage and strength. It's okay to be scared, but don't let it stop you. Always stay prepared. Bill showing school, they're just not beginning. Winners fucking win. Losers talk about winning.